And now it's on. Back to this fun game. And now it's on. Fuck me. Man, I hate that. Never lucky. Wreckful lucky. Yeah, and then we go away. We do this, and then let's see. Use your hero power 5 times. No, thank you. Destroy 10 minions. Play 1 game as warrior, death knight, demon hunter, or hunter as a warrior. 10 minions. Should be easy. Right, wrong place. Remove that. Play 25 cards that cost 3 or less. And then was it? Okay, warrior. Yeah, warrior. And whilst that's going on, it's some who are the key players in F1 2025 driver market? And people try to say it's Max Verstappen. I don't believe that.
You asked for it.
You could say Carlos Sainz is the one, the key player now, because it's the only one that's, you can say, have more or less need to find a place. He doesn't for now have a place, but let's see what the Autosport think about that.
2024 marked the first time the Formula 1 grid started and ended with all the drivers staying with their...
Man, I hate this stat because it's so, like, fake. Because they switch up. Nick de Vries started the season. Then they had Ricciardo. Then Liam Lawson. Then Ricciardo in the end. So from the end game, or the end of the season and then start of the season, yes, the same people were still there. But not the same person from that start of the season to the start of next season.
Their teams going into the new season. However, early this year, the Formula 1 world was shocked as Lewis Hamilton announced his move from Mercedes to Ferrari, starting the silly season early. And with several drivers out of contract at the end of this year, including Carlos Sainz, we're going to have a look at the drivers' market and see who might move.
I hope they do a somewhat good job because, well, this will not be fun to listen
Well, I'm
to.
Bryn Lucas, and joining me, I'm delighted to have Alex Kalinauckas, who's written an article on Autosport.com about this very topic. Now, Alex, let's kick it off, shall we? It is looking like it's going to be the silliest of silly seasons.
Yeah, hi Bryn, hi listeners, hi viewers. Yeah, I mean...
No, isn't this guy the... Oh my god. Oh, what do we call it? What people use a lot of this time. Privilege. It's a privilege to be in Formula 1 for some reason, I don't know. But yeah, the privilege
I always
guy.
like the silly season sort of moniker, because obviously that's addressing the speculation and the rumours that we love that swirl around Formula 1, but of course actually very, very, very serious business, which we illustrated on the cover of Autosport magazine with some nice squiggles.
Still believe in Max Verstappen.
I thought was particularly good. Although, on reflection, this one definitely shouldn't be just going off into the ether. It should be pointing directly at this man who he's replacing, Lewis Hamilton, going to replace Carlos Sainz at Ferrari. But yeah, very serious business in the end, driver contracts. And at the same time, you know, it's what interests people, that sort of expectation of change coming in the future, potentially that the change might lead to a better Formula One or more interesting Formula One, unless, of course, you're a Red Bull or a Max Verstappen fan. So yeah, very convoluted. Lots of twists and turns still to come, I'm sure. But yeah, let's run down what we know as of right now.
Oh my god, scam out. You can play it. Oh, we can skip it. Nice.
Absolutely. Now, I hinted at the top that you've written an article. It's a very, very in-depth article, and I urge our viewers, our listeners, to go and check that out once you've finished listening or watching to this episode. Now, we'll start with what happened at the beginning of the year. Lewis Hamilton surprising us all, really, with this shock move, in inverted commas, I suppose, to Ferrari. And that, we're not going to really talk about the teams that are retaining or that we know their lineup. So we know Ferrari, we're just going to say Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton 2025. But that move from Lewis Hamilton really did throw the cat among the pigeons, because there's now a seat at Mercedes, there's Carlos Sainz leaving Ferrari. So where should we start? Should we start with, let's start with Red Bull, why not? Because Red Bull is where it all seems to always start and end, doesn't it, at the moment? So we'll start with Max Verstappen. We know he's staying, but his teammate Sergio Perez, there's a big question mark over him.
Well, it is Max Verstappen staying.
Yeah, okay, man. Max Verstappen, yeah, the biggest question mark ever. What will Red Bull, Max Verstappen do? Will he leave? No.
That is, if anything, the more interesting element of the Red Bull discussion. And yeah, as you say, Ferrari being locked down in terms of 25, that was expected, considering Charles Leclerc got a contract extension. Carlos Sainz was in talks about staying there. But ultimately, the Lewis Hamilton bombshell just changed everything, didn't it? So yeah, Mercedes having a seat open, how rare is it that a top team suddenly has to change its plans at the last minute? But even more surprisingly was what happened at Red Bull at the start of the year.
Yeah, you could say that's surprising what happened in Red Bull. Maybe not the stuff that happened, but it happened in Red Bull, maybe. But yeah, what now? And after that, so much talk about Max leaving.
Christian Horner
So
scandal,
weird.
we now sort of term it. Also the Red Bull management war, because we know there's lots of internal power struggle going on.
Yeah, the greatest power struggle ever. I mean, it's so great that you don't see it until just Verstappen start talking, or Toto Wolff. That's weird.
Within Red Bull, that includes the wider organisation. It's almost sort of OEM level, isn't it?
Or when the media try to ask people about random stuff.
The the wider Red Bull energy drink group. But there we go. Yeah, that potentially the outcome of that uncertainty there, while it has cooled and cooled significantly since the South.
How can that be? I thought it was the doomsday in Red Bull. It was the end of the Red Bull team. And now it's just nothing. Nothing happened. Max doesn't even talk like he wants to leave. Man, this is weird. Did the media hyped up something that never was?
Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, when it was really sort of at a kind of fever pitch, that could drastically alter the sort of the fate of Red Bull and the future of its driver lineup heading into 2025. Because let's face it, Christian Horner, when I was last in the paddock in the Japanese Grand Prix, very much seeming more confident in his position and in various other positions. For example,
What? How?
the future of Max Verstappen.
He needs to get fired, right? He did the best stuff. He should get punished. Maybe jail time. And maybe removed from everything in Formula 1.
He's still not as public facing as we've seen him in previous years, but at the Chinese Grand Prix, when the questions put to him about what Toto Wolff is saying about Max Verstappen.
Yeah, the Toto Wolff talking good about Max Verstappen after 2021. That's weird. Maybe you should buy some celebration t-shirts from that race. Say how great of a drive he did in Abu Dhabi. He deserved the win.
Seems to get under Horner's skin quite quickly there. So yeah, it's definitely still not 100% certain. Again, the messages, the reports coming out of the Shanghai paddock is that Max Verstappen is pretty much keen on staying. Like, he doesn't want to leave. That said,
Yeah, why should he? At least, I mean, that I would say. 2025 will be 100% Max stay. 2026, after that, man, if the car is really bad, then I could see him leave after that year or on that year, but not until he knows the car is bad.
we've still got the FIA probe into the Horner matter, and of course the appeal into the decision to clear him in that scandal. Those outcomes are still to come. It was put to me in Japan that this is basically what we're in right now, is the calm between two storms, that there is much more to come on this front, and potentially that's what could lead to Max Verstappen going. It is a more remote chance, but there is still a slim possibility.
Yeah, the slim possibility. It can be the smallest one ever, but as long as it exists, people will talk about
that
it.
He might end up at a different team in 2025, and of course, yeah, that would mean, you know, that the contract that he signed, that, you know, very, very long contract, keeping him there until 2028, that would have to be essentially ripped up. But yeah, the other seat, what happens to Sergio Perez? That is what we were all expecting to be talking about throughout 2024, particularly this.
Yeah. If you can't mention Max Verstappen, you need to mention Sergio Perez. If you can't mention him, you mention Carlos Sainz. If you can't that, Ricciardo. Man, so many drivers. And this is probably nothing in Red Bull.
This early stage of the season, Daniel Ricciardo back at RB, there was then AlphaTauri last year. Would he sort of, you know, basically stake a claim, a commanding, decisive claim by being excellent in the middle order, or Perez yet again sort of flailed around, was well off the pace in Verstappen's way? Well, the opposite has happened in pretty much all of what I've just said there. Ricciardo has been very, very disappointing. I mean, now really the question.
Well, the start. China was somewhat good. And hopefully it continues.
Does he deserve a place in Formula One for much longer? We'll come to that later on. But with Sergio Perez, yeah, he is doing better. Of course, he's got those second places behind all of Max Verstappen's victories. But he left himself open yet again in Australia to being beaten, picking up damage in the pack as he tried to come back from a poor qualifying and a penalty in qualifying. So again, he showed that when Red Bull does need him to pick up the pieces, he failed to do that. That said...
Oh, so like Max Verstappen did. So every time Max drop all the pieces, Sergio must pick them up. That's mean.
He's got those second places when it has won this season. So essentially, Red Bull's like, great, he's doing what we want, mostly.
True.
He's doing it well, but they don't know if he's going to keep this form up. So what Red Bull wants to do is wait potentially until the summer to see if he's still doing that. And I think ideally it would like...
Wait, no. Do you mean they actually want to see how good he is before the signing?
To offer him a new contract covering 2025. A lot of the other players in the driver market, they want their decision made much sooner.
Yeah, and it's a very, very convoluted story at Red Bull, isn't it, at the moment? Because
yeah, for you people, yes.
It all depends on what goes on with Max Verstappen. That all depends, it seems to be, on what...
Like, why should it stop mentioning him? The only thing that makes sense is talking about Carlos Sainz going to Audi or Mercedes. Why even bringing Red Bull up?
Happens with the outcome of this investigation, which we won't know for I don't know how long. I mean, you probably know more than me of when the outcome of that is likely to happen, but that knock-on effect for Max Verstappen is what is the big question mark over Sergio Perez, because if you're Christian Horner, or if you're the hierarchy at Red Bull and you've got Max Verstappen staying on, is it better the devil you know and keep Perez in that seat as a decent number two that's pretty much this season doing what he needs to do there, or do you look elsewhere irrespective of what Max does?
And also, Max to Mercedes, if Mercedes is so great, do something with the state.
Well, I think it seems that with Ricciardo underperforming, where else is Red Bull going to look in terms of its own drivers? You'd have to say it can only really look now to Yuki Tsunoda, who, as a Honda-linked, Honda-backed Formula E driver, he has no way of getting to Aston Martin because, as many people will understand and know and be frustrated with, Aston Martin isn't going to get rid of the owner's son, and it's just tied Fernando Alonso to a new deal. So Tsunoda, when that team gets a Honda Works deal in 2026.
Oh, that would be a... Yuki Tsunoda joining Aston Martin with Honda. Please, Lance Stroll, leave Formula 1.
He can't go there for that season. So Red Bull could look at him. But yeah, if Verstappen goes, of course... that.
I don't think Red Bull will ever look at Tsunoda. If Ricciardo... I mean, I still perform bad. Or if Ricciardo shows some improvement of being close to Tsunoda, Tsunoda will be dropped every time.
Will create a lot of uncertainty, but I think Red Bull did look at every element. I mean, we know
oh my god, we are done. Oh no, fuck me. In my other account, I would be done if one quest isn't here. But fuck me, I have this one. What should I do? Play 25 cars that cost 3 or less. 3 or less. 3 or less. There we have some. Looks like equal and much. 3 or less. Oh yeah, okay, we can play Paladin. Oh, Mage. We can play Mage. More fun.
Talk to Fernando Alonso, the suggestion which Alonso sort of alluded to, then immediately shut down, which could also apply to Mercedes, is that they were sort of offering short-term contracts or short-term deals, that he wanted a long-term thing. But the other of course major talking point with Red Bull is Carlos Sainz. Now, effectively, Helmut Marko, revealing in an interview ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix, he's claiming, and of course he's the source on this, we haven't heard it from Sainz itself, nor in my case from Sainz's camp, is that Audi, which of course is taking over the Sauber team, has offered, in Marko's words, a very lucrative offer that Red Bull can't match, which...
Can't match, or they don't want to match. So, if they don't want to match it, maybe they're feeling it's not worth getting Carlos Sainz in the Red Bull mix.
Sounds slightly disingenuous considering just how much money the Red Bull group can bring in with those.
Yeah, but you should change the wording to not have enough money or want to spend that money.
That's small but very potent cans of energy drink and all its big marketing.
Yeah, so fucking think. Why did he say like he said? Because he meant something else.
Activations around the world. But yeah, that's the situation as it stands. Red Bull seems like it would be open to Sainz joining, whether that's as a replacement to Perez or whether it's as a replacement to Verstappen, more likely the Perez scenario as things stand. But it's claiming that they're not willing to sort of pay over the odds. Audi potentially is. You know, he's a very highly rated race winner, so it would be...
Yeah, for some reason he is. I don't see it why, but hey, people with copium have their beliefs.
Getting something massively significant if it does want to stump up the money. So yeah, it's not quite as simple as Red Bull wants it to be, and it's also not as simple.
I think it's really simple for the Red Bull. Either we pay you less, or you don't join Red Bull. Is it that really simple? We get a discount, and and you get to join Red Bull, or you don't, or we don't get a discount and you don't join.
In a
Simple.
different way as the sciences would like it.
If we keep the
nice.
link then between the Red Bull drivers and another team, the next team I'm going to bring up is Mercedes, because they've got an empty seat, as we know, with Hamilton leaving. Leaves George Russell there. He's still got his contract for a little bit longer, to the end of 2025. There seems to be quite a lot of names associated with that seat. Is Carlos Sainz one of those names, though?
Carlos Sainz certainly is one of those names. There are also
I mean, it should be, but the question is it really?
others. I mean, I think Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly.
I mean, you could say Esteban Ocon. But who knows? Toto Wolff was maybe really happy when Alpine took him over.
Plenty of available drivers, as you said at the start, Bryn. Esteban Ocon is saying, he's basically waving a flag saying, look, I'm still a Mercedes junior. His exact
Yeah, the copium.
words. So I think, the problem for all of them is that basically, if there was to be a driver switch, like an existing F1 driver going to Mercedes alongside George Russell, they would only be offered a 1-year contract.
Man, I feel like I should maybe not pick this one. Because this fucking shit. So annoying.
Contract, because Mercedes' preference, whether this happens for 2025 or 26 or 27, is that its highly rated young driver Andrea Kimi Antonelli is promoted into Formula One, and ideally Mercedes wants to do that for next year. And again, this is a team that's happy to wait for make its decision. Antonelli's racing in Formula 2 with Prema Racing. He's very highly rated, but so far things haven't come together. It's a championship that, there can, 1 minute you can look like a zero, 1 minute you can look like a hero, but it hasn't had that momentum that we've seen, for example, in recent years, drivers like Oscar Piastri, George Russell or Charles Leclerc. Now, Russell's season, of course, was very up and down, but he did ultimately win it. But that's what Mercedes wants.
Really? Can you give me some luck? Oh my god, so depressing.
Do, because it doesn't want to miss out on losing another highly rated junior like it did with Max Verstappen going to Red Bull. So it wants to wait, and at the same time, if it does wait, it can say, well, okay, actually maybe he's not ready for the works team. We can either keep him in Formula 2 for another year if he doesn't win the title, or we can place him, say, at a customer team, a closely tied customer team like Williams. Now, again, a suggestion made to me in the paddock in Suzuka is that Williams actually be open to that. It's keeping its cards quite close.
Man. Is that proof that Lewis Hamilton will not be in Williams then?
To its chest, other than very much saying Alex Albon is off limits for 2025. But I think you'd have to say Williams would be open to having Antonelli, and it would gain from doing so because he's so highly rated. Potentially, you add in then the potential for other factors like engine discounts from Mercedes, its customer partner. So
Good job, fucking bot. You want to cast a spell? Oh, wait. Babbling book is Pavel. Get to some nice fight
So,
then.
there is the option of that happening for both Williams and for Mercedes. That then you get into then who goes to Mercedes for the short term? Let's say it's Ocon. He's at an Alpine team that's badly underperforming. I honestly can't see it attracting any other drivers other than anyone.
Yeah, Alpine can be the new Williams. Hopefully they are. Because Williams should hopefully become better.
Sort of more desperate to prolong their career at this stage. Ocon would conceivably perhaps think, okay, I'll go to Mercedes, I'll be a works driver. If I beat George Russell when his contract is up, and we know that's going to be coming sooner rather than later in terms of the greater long term, why not pick me and put Antonelli in the other car, or just be so good and Antonelli continues to not progress as Mercedes hopes or wants, then at least you're in the fight. So it's okay, I'll accept the short term in the hope that it turns into something else. You know, hey, who hasn't had, you know, job potential that or career opportunities where you take something in the short term thinking about it maybe developing long term, and if it doesn't work out that way, then you try and go in a different direction. So yeah, Mercedes happy to wait. That presents opportunity for other drivers. Now,
I've got a feeling we're going to mention Antonelli again in just a bit. Before we do, let's jump to a totally different team from the ones we've mentioned so far, which are more the front runners. Let's go to Sauber. And you have mentioned Sauber already in relation to Carlos Sainz, because Audi taking over the stewardship of that team from 2026, but you know, who knows what's going to happen there with the deal they've got. But they want to come into Formula One, and they want to come in and make a mark straight away. It doesn't look like they're trying to build slowly.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's been interesting to hear, again, Helmut Marko, you know, sort of driving market stuff. He obviously considers this very much his domain. He was saying at Suzuka, look, the pressure that Audi's been applying at the driver market, that's another factor in why things have kicked off so early, because, and then as he expanded upon heading towards trying to this supposed lucrative offer to Carlos Sainz. I mean, you can totally see it from Audi's point of view. Why would you not want to get your 2026 driver lineup sorted and in place for 2025? Because then if you go to two new drivers replacing Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, you get them settled in and aligned with what the team is and how it works and everything. But also, if you bring in Carlos Sainz from Ferrari, somebody else from another experience of another power unit, you've got their insight into how things should be performing when it comes to Audi building its own engine. So that's obviously beneficial to get up.
So I'm not getting Carlos Sainz to Mercedes or Sauber is more for them than a Red Bull getting Sainz.
Other drivers in as early as possible. There are sort of red flags, for want of a better word, with any driver, including Sainz, wanting to or considering going to Audi. Look, yeah, it's a massively prestigious brand. What it did with its success in Le Mans, the World Endurance Championship, the impact that made on its car sales, absolutely tremendous. But Formula One is really not that far on from the massive failure of the Toyota project, where it came in with massive amount of money and achieved absolutely nothing. There's now a cost cap era that makes it, even a manufacturer as massive as Mercedes can't catch up with Red Bull, because the nuances of this ground effect means that unless you got your concept right immediately, you're all...
Oh shit, should we just go for it?
What to do?
12. Let's see, can we win? Probably.
Always massively paying catch up. So a driver going there may never win. That said, they could come in with the best engine in 2026 and blow the field away. That's equally as possible. Of course it is. With Audi, it's not just Sainz that this sort of feeds into. The understanding is that Nico Hülkenberg is very much on Audi's radar, and he's already said
that would be something. Nico Hülkenberg and Sainz joins
Audi's on his radar, so it could lead to big change elsewhere. Equally, we saw how well Zhou Guanyu was received at the Chinese Grand Prix in a car that's where it's going to finish for the foreseeable. So, you know, yeah, he's not the most highly rated driver, but he has a real value in terms of Audi wanting to sell more electric vehicles or more vehicles overall in China to that market. So it's not just sort of as simple as saying Audi comes in, picks the two best available drivers, and there you go. But as I said, it's not a given that going to Audi would mean Formula One success. It might, however, give what a lot of racing drivers really do want: long-term, you know, stability, the paycheck coming in, a healthy paycheck from a big manufacturer. So you can equally see, as much as it might be a risk, it's also potentially a big benefit.
No, absolutely. Pierre Gasly then and Esteban Ocon. You've mentioned Alpine already.
This could be interesting to hear. Alpine, Gasly and Ocon. How long will they stay in Alpine, or will Alpine get better? And what will happen? Are we done now? One more game. Okay, it will be a Paladin game done.
to a degree. These two drivers, both contracts up at the end of this season. You've mentioned where one of them could go potentially, but it's tricky, isn't it, Alpine? Because it's a team that's not really helping to improve a driver's own stock because of the results they're unable to get during the Grand Prix weekend.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Alpine, because just the full force of the team's got to be going on getting the car, just making it quicker, making it competitive. It's a pretty shocking situation to find itself in. I think the team would ideally like stability. I think they do seem to have a bit of a knack for getting close to each other, as we saw in China. I mean, that happened with Ocon and Fernando Alonso in years previously, so it's not something that...
Yeah, I wonder why. Must be Ocon's teammates that are always bad, and not Ocon.
Are unfamiliar with their two teammates, running each other very, very hard and very, very close. But I think Gasly and Ocon continuing at Alpine, other than the lack of competitiveness in the car, it's still, the Renault backing, the manufacturer links there. Alpine as a brand, obviously reasonably exciting from a sort of sports star perspective. But yeah, Ocon's Mercedes links complicate that, and Gasly equally, if you're his management, as we know they are, they're getting around to everybody who's got availability and saying, look, he's still here, he's still race winner, he's still got potential.
Yeah,
the race winner talk. I mean, if you want to mention Ocon is a race winner, can you also mention that the only reason was Bottas bowling time in the first corner? They made Max and Sergio Perez, Norris, maybe Ricciardo, maybe Lance Stroll, many people DNF'd in the first corner. Then, after that, it was... he was the first one out, I think, from the pit stop. Or he was maybe first in, first out. Whatever. So he got a lot of position from that. Then Lewis Hamilton didn't go into the pit stop. And then when Lewis Hamilton finally got in the pit stop, it was a hunt to get the win. And because of all that, Ocon then succeeded to win this. So I'm gonna say it's so much to celebrate when say Ocon is a race winner. But hey, sure.
Fire through some more teams as well, because like I say, there's quite a lot of unknowns at this stage. Next one we'll look at is Williams. We mentioned Alex Albon signed to the end of 2025, potentially Red Bull material for 2020.
Man, so many people that can go to Red Bull, and it still feels like nobody will. Sergio Perez will stay there and Max Verstappen will stay there.
26.
So, yeah.
But what about his teammate? Let's talk about Logan Sargent.
Yeah, that's mad. Still, I mean, the reason why he got into Williams was somewhat weird, I would say. He needed to finish fourth to maybe get a chance to join the team.
Let me think.
Let's see, should I voice that?
Move quickly.
Probably not.
Reporting for duty.
And then after he joined, he haven't done so much good. And all this time, Drugovic could maybe have been in Williams or Mick Schumacher. But instead we have Logan Sargent.
Whether or not we'll even see him in Formula One in 2025.
Yeah, I think what happened in Australia and him being benched for Alex Albon having destroyed the other car, it's a pretty clear indication. I mean, everybody knows this. This is not, brand new analysis. But Williams has no confidence in him, and obviously does not see him being part of long-term future. Now, obviously, it's essentially American-owned. If that was to be tied to some brand new, massive blue.
Time go. Yep, that's done.
Bara på Storytel.
Fuck me one more.
Tusentals dokumentärer, true crime och nytt exklusivt innehåll
Let's switch
varje
the
vecka.
account.
Prova gratis.
Don't. You're probably
US
really
sponsor
bad.
coming in and saying we must have an American driver. The fact that he's there. And
Yeah, we must have American driver. How about the team? An Andretti team. American team. With Cadillac. Fuck that. They could maybe bring in Kota Herta. That is a mark. No, fuck that. We can't have that. But the driver, yeah, sure.
Can provide continuity would work massively in his favour, but really, let's face it, at this point, the paddock is not expecting Logan Sargent to be continuing at Williams. And honestly, he's had a good shake at it now, and he hasn't shown, I think, that he's F1 worthy.
It's tough for him, but it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? We've seen bigger names fall, haven't we, within Formula One over the years. Let's move to another team then, an RB. You mentioned Daniel Ricciardo.
Let's see, 2025. I feel like they shouldn't change. Probably nothing. But the stuff with Liam Lawson make it so weird.
Ricciardo pretty early on, actually, about there was a seat at Red Bull, and he seems to be doing everything he can to not be having that seat. But if you look at Daniel Ricciardo and his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, they've also got Liam Lawson very much waiting in the wings, haven't they, from a very strong showing last season when Daniel Ricciardo was injured.
They certainly do, and there's been rumours flying about that potentially...
Let's see, if Logan Sargent leaves... Man, I hate so much they... How many minutes did they waste then? 6 minutes on fucking Red Bull stuff. So waste of time. When the more interesting stuff is... Let's say... If Logan Sargent leaves, who will join? Will Antonelli join? Okay, then it's still a seat in Mercedes. Okay, who can join that? If Carlos Sainz go to Sauber, who will join then Mercedes? Or even more interesting, if Antonelli joins Mercedes, will Red Bull try to get Liam Lawson into Williams and keep Tsunoda and Ricciardo? But no. Like, well, the title is right. Who is the key place in the F1 2020 driver market? Just mention names was nothing about what will stuff change. If one driver picked, like if Carlos Sainz go to Sauber, what would they change? Yes, they will make so Antonelli goes to Mercedes. But if Carlos Sainz chooses Mercedes, okay, who goes to Sauber? But, or, even more interesting, if Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz go to Sauber, can Jürgen Joe joins Williams or maybe even Alpine or Haas or another team? And then Oliver Behrman, will he 100% join Haas or will he join something else?
As soon as the Miami rounds, Red Bull were going to say, Ricciardo, if your performance doesn't pick up, we'll replace you with Liam Lawson. Now, that was always said to be wide of the mark, because if you've attracted, Cash App and Visa on the strength of Ricciardo's Cash App and Visa on the strength.
Oh man, come on. Is Visa, Cash App, RB Formula 1 team? Why say it so badly? Oh my, yeah, the privileged being Formula 1. The privileged guy can't say the name right. Man, you need to be a great reporter.
Strength of Ricciardo's personality basically alone. Why would you get rid of him before at least the first US race? I mean, I think that basically ties him to RB at least until the end of the season. But yeah, we know Helmut Marko massively rates Liam Lawson. And I think ultimately, although Christian Horner, you could see that very clearly in Drive to Survive, wants Daniel Ricciardo back at Red Bull.
Drive to Survive, yeah. You clearly see that.
He's just so far showing that, he's not good enough. Now, he got a chassis change at the Chinese Grand Prix. He did say...
And outqualified Tsunoda 2 times before someone crashed into him. So the chassis is maybe destroyed again. Wouldn't that be really depressing? All this talk to get a new chassis. Yeah, sure. Oh my god. Yeah, fucking that. And you do better qualify than in the race. You get hit that maybe have broken it again. So if you're bad again, What do you believe in? Do you need one more change, or are you just bad?
Say that was better. He was ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in both qualifying sessions, where the only chance really where RB is able to shine, or any of those bottom 5 teams, because of how congested it is for the top 5 teams in point scoring. Then obviously Ricciardo taken out of the Grand Prix. So yeah, it's very difficult for him to show what he's going to do, but it feels, considering he's underwhelmed.
But I would say 2026, I feel like the start of the season, Ricciardo, if they don't want Perez anymore, Ricciardo will be in the Red Bull team. If he doing a good job, or else it's not a reason to remove Perez.
More likely that Lawson would be returning and you'd keep Tsunoda, who's delivering.
Or the best thing, if that will probably never happen, Max Verstappen joins the Wash team Mercedes. That will be funny to see if when Ricciardo joins the Red Bull, Perez will be the champion winner in the end.
The other factor in, Ricciardo was showing better in Shanghai. He himself, to be fair, to his credit, stood up and said, look, I'm always pretty handy around here. He's a race winner there. So was it a sort of circuit-specific revival? But yeah, Red Bull not without options for who to put at RB if he does want to get rid of Ricciardo. But equally, don't underestimate the value of...
That's the biggest thing. They have the biggest problem. They want Liam Lawson in Formula 1, but they have only 4 seats. Why would they even think about getting Carlos Sainz in the Red Bull team or something, when they have already the problem with Liam Lawson? Just add one more number to something that's already not working.
Of his brand, of his personality, in terms of doing what Red Bull want with its major, and these are major blue chip US sponsors at that team. So it could be that they say, well, Tsunoda, you've had your time, you've been good enough, but there's business reasons for keeping Ricciardo around, and we want Liam Lawson as a change to come in.
Yeah, here we have it. Liam Lawson talk.
So you'll be harsh considering the last few races, but equally there's been many other occasions where Tsunoda hasn't seemed to hasn't got the temperament, maybe just hasn't got the...
Man, that was so fun. I don't know who said it, but someone gave the information that, could it be the Formula 1 stuff they do, either in the F1 Nation podcast or After the Race podcast, something about Tsunoda being more mature or less angry, and then the race after. Something went bad, so he shown, man, he maybe is still angry. So yeah, will Tsunoda still being angry? Probably.
Consistency to cut it at the top level in Formula 1. As I said, that could equally cut the other way, and he might earn a shot Red Bull promotion if it was left with potentially a lack of other options. But yeah, very interesting. As ever, really, at that team. I think let's keep an eye on what happens with the drivers coming up.
Man, only 3 minutes on Mercedes.
Everybody needs a cast.
Let's see, 12, 15. So, Stake F1 team Kick Sauber got equally much time as Mercedes. That's something. A team that are celebrated when they get a pit stop right, with a team that won the championships.
Haas is a team that over the years have tried this 2 rookies in the same season. Didn't work particularly well for them. They went back to the...
They also had a really bad car, right? Probably.
The old hats, should we call them?
Didn't they use the same car, the 2020 car for 2021 car. It was the same car. Only in 2022 the car actually was somewhat decent / new.
In the nicest possible sense, and they're both delivering quite well this season, aren't they? So what about Haas and what...
Okay, Nico Hulkenberg will and still do that. Kevin Magnussen, I don't know.
They're going to do. I know we've already mentioned a certain driver that could step in, who's a teammate of another driver in Formula 2 at Prema Racing. But what about Haas and their two drivers?
Ollie Behrman, did step in for Carlos Sainz, and was already set to be a big part of Haas's 2024 because he was, he's going to be doing those 6 FP1 outings, and that was really seen as a sort of.
Oh wait, let's see. 21. Oh shit! So Mercedes, Stake, F1 team Kick Sauber, and Haas got equally much time. That's nice.
Really a full shakedown of whether he's cut out to make it in Formula 1, and he showed in Jeddah on that one-off appearance that he can do the job in terms of bringing.
Could it be a bot I played, I guess? Probably. Okay, are we done? Please say we're done. Fucking 2 more games, really. Two more games and destroy. No, Dayla here. Oh fuck me, this is just sad. Fuck this game, so bad. Fucking no damage dealt. Oh shit.
When the points in, that car, it has to be said, did have the pace to be on the podium, but he was dropped in at the last minute, had no practice. Let's not.
Also, okay. For people that saw the money I have and card pack I have. Fuck me. Can do it after this match. But I'm still waiting to harsh on being good.
Let's not be too harsh on too harsh on him. Sorry.
Let's see. What game was it? Let's see if I can find it. Hearthstone Championship 2018. That was that. Oh my god, yeah, 2018. I've been waiting for Hearthstone to be good for 6 years now. And it doesn't look like it will ever be that.
He had that FP3 appearance, but anyway. I think it's much more likely to see Ollie Behrman coming in for Haas. Or perhaps even...
Man, 2018. When Ferrari was fighting against Mercedes. I'm going to say that's some good years because I mean it's the closer for Ferrari being good, maybe. Maybe 2022 was that also. But man, the good years. Williams, McLaren and Ferrari up there. Could that be something happen in the future? Well, I really hope it will.
Just as likely to see him coming in at Haas than when we compare the Antonelli promotion as their Prema teammates in Formula 2.
So if he goes into Haas, who leaves?
Haas loves him. Haas, in Mexico, basically, we're just like, yeah, this guy.
I mean, I believe Kevin Magnussen will 100% leave if Hulkenberg stays. But if Hulkenberg goes to Sauber, will Kevin Magnussen get a chance to maybe stay in Haas? Oh, god damn it.
In Mexico, basically, we're just like, yeah, this guy's come from Ferrari, from their academy. He's switched on. He's very technically sound. He's very likable. And obviously very talented. And actually, again, just on the end.
People like him. But do they like Kevin Magnussen more? Just look at him here.
Fun. Behrman racing in Jeddah, really, Mercedes were really chuffed about that because they were like, well, hang on a minute, we can now see just how good the guy that our guy is racing against is. You know, this is what we might get, and even more if we were to do what we want to do, which is promote Antonelli for 25 or the coming years. So, yeah, some change is expected at Haas. Who's it going to be in place of? If Hulkenberg...
That's something I started to think now. The Toto Wolff want Max join Mercedes so badly because then he can think the 2021 championship win was part of his team. So in his Wikipedia page you could say Max won for Mercedes.
Goes off to Audi. Well, there's your open slot. Kevin Magnussen. He's doing better, I think.
But no, he will leave, right?
He's not still had the sort of consistent Hulkenberg shining moments like in qualifying we saw in 2023. And then you...
Man, the first damage, hype. 90 more damage.
got those awful moments like hitting Tsunoda, basically taking him out of the race. You know, the rear of the car getting up.
He ruins... Man, he ruins Tsunoda's race 2 times. Saudi Arabia, China. I mean, why is he still in the car?
Away from Magnussen and into Tsunoda and sending them off in the Chinese Grand Prix. So, yeah, that...
Hype. Oh my god. A golden card for the golden 99. Oh, 2 damage, 18 damage left. Fuck me.
That's the sort of question mark. Is this sort of, is the end coming for Magnussen?
Yes.
You know, likeable character, but again, had multiple chances in Formula One. When Haas potentially have exciting, you know, fresh faces out there, other opportunities for them.
So Behrman could go to Haas. Antonelli, his Premier teammate, could be at Williams, could be at Mercedes in 2025. We just don't know. So many question marks over so many.
Okay, so the clip was just mention every name that... Why doing this so boring? When you can do for... have like 1 page for every scenario. Like, if Red Bull... If Max leaves, okay, what would that change in every team? And every option, like... even like Max Verstappen go to Williams, wouldn't that be amazing? Well, that would be funny. Rather to go to Mercedes, he go to Williams.
Drivers and so many teams. It's sure going to be fun watching it play out over the next few months, that's for sure. Don't forget to check out Alex's lovely bit of work at Autosport.com. Read the article in full and then comment. Let us know who you think is going to move and to where. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe as well, where you can stay across all things.
Okay, so if I didn't like it, I don't have to subscribe. That's good.
Formula One. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Yeah, your fangs is not nice to you. But like I said, if or have the funny thing, if Carlos Sainz choose Mercedes, what will that change? If Carlos Sainz change, or go to stake F1 team kick Sauber, what would that change? If anyone in the Alpine, if Gasly or Ocon leaves Alpine for some reason, what would that change?
What now?
But no, mention every name and then do nothing about it, yeah. So boring. Could have at least tried to make it more interesting than doing a copy of something you probably have already done.
What now?
Yeah, what's now?
Operating
1 more damage. 16 more damage is needed. Hype. What next? What next? Oh shit, need to go from the cliff. What next? F. Well, at least we're playing harsh, so we can at least. True.
I've got the beast in my sight. Pain. I don't have enough mana.
No. Why not? How much damage was that? 1 more. 15 damage left to do. Hype. Man, one day I remember you get the legendary cards. But even if I get them, I will never change them. The Naxxramas cards will always stay here. Fucking Naxxramas, when did that come out? Nax is out, hype. Naxxramas. Naxxramas trailer 2017. Oh fuck me, it's Hearthstone, for fuck's sake. Curse of Naxxramas, 9 years, 2015.
What now?
The good old times. We need to draw some cards. Oh wait, fuck me, I can't.
I must choose. We hunger for vengeance.
Oh, misplay. God damn it. Okay, back to... Maybe not yet. We finish this game. Can't waste when I can maybe actually win this game. No. Come on. Play faster. Ah, fuck me. Maybe I should play this because it will probably just be a fucking information dump from the race. So sure, F1 new 2024 overtaking roads explained. Did he quit? Oh, fuck off. Why is so unlucky?
Time and time again in recent years, it's felt like frustrating inconsistencies have meant you, the fans...
It started great, 2022. Then Mercedes complained. And then they made Red Bull even better and everyone
Us,
else
the
worse.
media, them, the drivers, and even, to be honest, F1's officials don't actually know what's allowed or not in wheel-to-wheel racing. There's little worse in F1 than when you watch a great battle with 2 or more cars, things get a bit sketchy, and you just have no idea if it's going to result in a penalty or not. Whether it's overtaking on the inside or outside, lunging from far back, defending too aggressively, we've seen everything from hard but fair racing being punished to leery over-the-top moves getting overlooked. Well, this
Hard
year,
but
something has
fair.
changed.
That sounds like Ocon stuff. Fucking pretending. Not everything's fair. Why did I lose that car?
Change to try to stop that. There's a new initiative to codify the rules of racing and outline what's legal or not, more specifically than ever. But you might not have noticed that because the specifics don't really seem to have been published anywhere. They've just been vaguely referenced in stewards' decisions at a couple of Grand Prix this season. What's happening is essentially a continuation of something you might have heard for a long time, about letting the drivers race. And this is a much more formal attempt at doing something very difficult, turning that wonderfully free principle into definitive regulations. 2 years ago, a set of informal racing guidelines was introduced to outline when a driver was entitled to space.
Yeah, fucking good game. The retard say. I don't know what was, if that would ever define as a good game. It was a retarded, disgusting, not fun game. 13 damage, fuck me. The fuck, unless one more game. Yeah, one more game. Can we do it? Yeah, fucking the daily quest. No, but fuck, man, so depressing.
Space when overtaking on the inside and outside of corners. It had mixed success. They didn't work for every single corner profile on the F1 calendar or factor in how a battle between 2 cars can be so dynamic. Unsurprisingly, trying to
One thing I hate with the route stat is because you have the racing line, you can push someone out so much you want because you're ahead or something. I mean, how much racing will that be if you can always ruin someone else's race?
specify car X needs to be this far alongside car Y just dumbed things down to an absurdly unrealistic degree,
I mean, I like that, yeah. He had the racing line, so he can keep pushing.
especially with no emphatic requirement to leave space on the
Hey, when was this? 63, so your Russell is sitting in here. With this? 2023? What?
exit of the corner. Those rules
Fuck.
basically implied
happening?
anything was fair game as long as you got your front wheels alongside the other driver's front wheels at the apex. It didn't seem to matter how much entry speed you took in or whether you ran the other car off the road on the exit. That vagueness was something Max Verstappen often used to good effect, and really, he was right to do so. What's typically considered fair comes second to doing what the rules say you can, or don't say you can't. It was widely agreed that something needed to be done to improve the situation.
True.
And in February this year, it was announced that the FIA Drivers Committee, the Circuit Commission and the Safety Department had worked together to create the first official driving standards guidelines. This will apply to all categories of circuit racing with the intention of being a consistent reference for drivers and officials, and by extension, all of us watching. At the time, two-time F1 World Champion Fernando Alonso said the guidelines will be crucial. But despite the fact they are clearly in use in F1 already, you haven't seen them yet because technically they still only exist in draft form and will become regulatory in 2025 when they are enshrined in an appendix to the FIA International Sporting Code. Before we get into this,
Med Premium har du chans att vinna den här drömmiga husbilen.
I don't think so.
specific examples the guidelines lay out, let's address some important caveats. First, they aren't binding. They are just a guide to the decision-making process of the stewards, who will still exercise discretion.
Wait, the fuck? Oh, It wasn't an acolyte. Fuck me. Misplay of the year.
There's also clear acknowledgement in them that racing is a dynamic process, which stresses that the specific relative positions cited in the guidelines are just one element. That is so important, and a clear distinction on what existed before. Factors the stewards will always look at when reviewing an incident include how did the cars get to the incident, for example, late braking, diving in, moving under braking, was the manoeuvre late or optimistic, what could the drivers reasonably see, know or anticipate.
Nah, so much stuff.
Could the manoeuvre be completed on the track? Was there understeer, oversteer or locking? Did someone
Oh my god.
position or handle their car in a way that contributed to the incident? Did the type of corner contribute?
Yeah. Will all this information also be looked when the Lance Stroll do something? Because maybe they should.
To the incident, for example, camber, curbs, curves or apexes, and what were the relative tyre compounds, age and grip levels. All of these were relevant factors before, but it is good to emphatically make clear that they don't just get overridden by basic, simplified guidance. The new guidelines get quite specific for different overtaking moves and different situations. For overtaking on the inside of a corner, a driver must be given room if they satisfy the following conditions. 1. Have their front axle at least alongside of the mirror of the other car, no later than the apex of the corner. 2. Be driven in a safe and controlled manner throughout the manoeuvre, which includes the entry, apex and exit. 3. Without deliberately forcing the other car off the track.
Well, this is the worst thing ever. It's like, are you trying to race or are you trying just to cheat a position like Magnusson did? And then fucked everyone else in the race.
The exit, which includes leaving a fair and acceptable width for the car being overtaken from the apex to the exit of the corner.
Can you do so little and have so much raw? Fucking depressing.
What now?
And 4. Be able to make the corner within the track limits. This seems pretty straightforward, but it still has its drawbacks. For a case study in how these rules are applied, look to the recent Chinese Grand Prix weekend and an incident involving Alonso, who was one of the original poster boys of these guidelines. A multi-corner battle ended with Alonso attempting to repass Carlos Sainz into the slow turn 9 left-hander that follows the sweeping S's in the middle of the lap, and the two cars made contact. The stewards deemed Alonso caused the collision, but didn't say how. Looking at the guidelines, Alonso actually ticked most, if not all, of the boxes. He's far enough alongside at the apex. He's in control, even though it is a late move. He doesn't deliberately force Sainz off as the contact is accidental, and Alonso himself...
Oh my god, so they don't follow their own fucking rules. Man, I couldn't do...
made the corner within track limits.
Imagine.
Presumably the stewards were swayed by the other aforementioned factors and felt something else nudged what Alonso did into being against the rules. The problem is that, as we said, frustratingly the stewards' decision didn't state exactly what Alonso did wrong beyond
It did something wrong. Should we tell you why? No.
causing a collision. This exposes a problem within this system. If there are going to be hardline rules with multiple conditions to police overtaking, then the officials need to actually tell us what somebody's done wrong. You can't tackle inconsistent, vague decision-making with vague explanations, especially when a move like Alonso's, while certainly aggressive, didn't feel like the type designed to be punished with a 10-second time penalty and 3 licence penalty points. As for overtaking on the outside of a corner, we like that the guidelines acknowledge that it's a more difficult move to pull off. For a long time, drivers have been taught from karting all the way through the racing pyramid that if you try to hang it round the outside, you're at risk of running out of road.
Yeah, but that's just a lame stuff. I mean, you shouldn't maybe try it out. Really? At least I have stuff for it. But also, you should be able to do it. You know, why this pushing out people off the road?
It's often been left up to how hard certain drivers race. Fairer drivers will leave a bit of room for their rivals.
They should always leave room. Because that will make someone to racing.
Harder drivers will be more ruthless and edge them.
Ocon to his teammate.
Out. But in recent years, there has been a clear effort to define when it's essential for a driver to leave space, and that's the case in the new guidelines too.
Misplay.
So for a driver to be given room when overtaken on the outside, including at the exit.
I mean, I like this. Every corner should be like this. You almost take the racing line, but you also leave room for the other one to half using the racing line.
Of the corner, the overtaking car must.
Also, isn't that the day George Russell ruined the science race?
1. Have the front axle at least alongside the front axle of the other car at the apex of the corner and to the exit. 2. Be driven in a safe and controlled manner throughout the manoeuvre, entry, apex and exit. 3. Be able to make the corner within the track limits. In a lot of cases, this is going to leave a driver at the mercy of their rivals or the law of physics. A good example would be turn 6 at the Red Bull Ring, the site of many side-by-side moments even in modern F1. Sometimes the car on the outside is legitimately entitled to more room, and the driver on the inside cannot run their rival out of road if they've held it alongside all the way through.
Like this. What kind of fun Formula 1 is this? You're on the outside, you shouldn't be there. Okay. But the racing led to it. So why is this allowed? Because of reasons.
Corner. But if someone tries to pull alongside or past later in the corner, when the car on the inside has already committed to their speed and trajectory to the exit, they won't be entitled to room on the exit. This isn't intended to stop that kind of optimistic pass, it just means drivers have to accept the risks involved.
Oh, nice.
We quite like this, as it's pretty close to being a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of rule. As was the case previously, the guidelines do try to tackle the awkward issue of how to approach chicanes and S-bends. In other words...
Is this a bot or is this a really human? Really? Man. At least we won this game with a really nice game. Classic Hearthstone Warrior mashup. Fatigue match.
What happens when a move into a sequence of turns starts with a car on the inside or outside, but that very quickly becomes the other side as the...
You crash them out. Where the fuck is this a war? What?
Track changes direction. Here, things are very simple. There are 2 points to consider.
Wait the fuck? Oh, that's unlucky. You got a good minion and then you lose it. Holy shit, my feet are cool.
One, the guides for overtaking on the inside and outside may apply for each element of the combination. Two, however, priority will be given to the first corner element. So if you didn't fully follow the
Follow the rules here, then you crash them out here.
guidelines at the first corner, then you don't get the benefit at the second. Let's take the Senna S at Interlagos as an example. We've seen drivers collide at the second part before, like Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in 2022, as a move around.
And thanks to this, maybe George Russell won the race and not Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen really sacrificed himself to make sure Lewis Hamilton will not even get close to a win.
Around the outside in the first part puts that car on the inside for the second. Unless you're at least fully alongside from apex to exit through the left-hand
Men wouldn't it be so amazing? People just driving alongside each other from corner to corner. But
one
no.
there, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt if you then try to hang on to the inside at turn 2. Then you're just relying on the car on the outside doing you a massive favour to avoid contact, but if there is contact, you
True. But also, at least leave some room.
being on the inside means you're likely to get a penalty. A good case for this attempted clarification is that it becomes impossible to watch F1's increasingly rare moments of box office action if you don't have a good idea of what's crossing the line in a fight. It just leads to confusion and arguments, which isn't the right kind of debate F1 should be stoking. It's just as frustrating when you see drivers get away with crossing the line as it is when what seems like a hard but fair pass gets slapped with a penalty. We'll need some time to see if the rules that have been created are widely, commonly understood, although it's not a great look for them that in the space of a couple of months, Alonso's gone from advocating the guidelines to being punished for breaking them, even though he felt what he did was okay. Of course, this kind of thing is always going to be subjective to a degree, which means it's not just Alonso or us disagreeing that his move did or didn't fulfill one of these new conditions.
Now I get all the draw. Fuck me. This is so boring. Man, I don't want to draw more.
What now? I must choose.
It guarantees that different officials will have their own views on different incidents as well. You'll never get complete consistency, but as long as that's understood, it could be workable as a long-term framework. It's at least rooted in something sensible, as is a tweak in connection to this to turn the weak 5-second time penalty into a baseline 10-second penalty for 2024. It's all designed to warn drivers off unfair driving and make it clear where the line is. It's fair to ask though whether this has all gone too far. Have we disappeared down a rabbit hole with complex rules for something inherently difficult, if not impossible to define? And are officials too trigger happy in F1 to dish out penalties in general?
Yes, they are. I mean, more race bans for Lenstroll.
It would certainly be a lot easier if drivers and officials all understood that you just need a bit of give and take in battle, that sometimes there will be contact and not every incident needs to be somebody's fault. We'd have fewer penalties, fewer irritating radio messages where drivers and teams are grassing on each other, and fewer confusing situations where you're trying to break down a multi-point document to work out why one driver was more at fault for a collision than another. These new guidelines might work, but if F1's racing reality was a bit simpler, they wouldn't need to exist at all.
Oh,
5 into
fuck me. The fact what is left to watch? We have the James Wow's verdict and also the IndyCar stuff. whilst that is going, we could watch that.
What now?
Yeah, what now? Oh! He will get damage now.
Sometimes these opinion videos serve more as, well, civic duties, because as I explained in a video on the 2026 regulations, I think it was last week or something like that, these online websites serve...
Oh, fuck me. How many damage do I need to do? Have I done? No, did I miss? Have I done a misplay? Oh, that would be so annoying. Oh, fuck me. Let's see, did I succeed or just fail that boring quest? That's done. And how much damage did I do? Fuck me, I thought it said. Oh, it's done. This quest, I thought this, oh my god, I just done 2 damage. But no, it's fucking wins. Oh, this can be done one day. That's time to collect some more fishes. Oh, let's see, how many fishes are there? Let's see, where do we have it? Go away. It's 2,700. Where do we have it? Yeah, we have it. 2,700 more fishes is needed. And how many did I succeed to get? 281. But that's also from I have more fishes, so it should be more, but I have not placed them down in the chest room yet, so it could be close to 300 fishes now. So let's get the game up. Well, wait, let's see. So yeah, actually, the fuck is happening? The fuck did I come here for? Let's see, where is the information? So I make sure it actually got shown. There we have it. $2,700. So all these fixtures I'm trying to get. I would say this is at least less depressing than getting a good horse when the bug still was active. Fuck me. And also, they've done something new in the the game. This weird thing. Okay, time to collect some fishes. And also, I got 2 tridents also. When getting all the fishes up. From that area, I built a temporary swimming pool for the fishes. Well, I got some more buckets. And now I am prepared with a lot of buckets. And a lot of more iron. So I can make more buckets if it's needed. But let's do a swim around. See if I can collect some more fishes, and then we do 281. Oh.
Only to just, well, try and get some online.
Oh, fuck me. Improve or move the options on the Daniel Ricciardo rumors. I don't know any Ricciardo rumors, I think. But let's hear them.
Clout through clicks. Because if any of the rumours and made up stuff that they post actually does become true, then these websites end up looking like geniuses.
And they will not, probably. Everything, at least everything about Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz.
The problem that comes with them is that they gain traction so easily. The Susie Wolf thing gained a ton of traction because, well, Toto Wolf, who seems to be public enemy #1 to anybody on Twitter who has a lion and...
Yes. Why wouldn't you be against him?
Dutch flag in their screen names. And if a baseless accusation or rumour gets picked up by a very noisy section of a fan base, then you're going to get everybody clicking, sharing, and doing other bits and pieces, and your name in terms of your website is out there until it's proven that it was all made up, and your site is then ignored by everybody after that. But when these sort of things come up, I like to turn these things into something I call humour the rumour, because I look at them as if, alright, what if this is true? Let's look at the wider picture here. Or in the case of the...
What if Daniel Ricciardo is actually trying to kill Sergio Perez? Is that true? I mean, a lot of stuff have happened. Like, I mean, Max Verstappen's car broke down. Could that be something Daniel Ricciardo tried to do on Sergio Perez? Who knows?
The Susie Wolf news before Christmas, I think it was. We can pick it all apart and go, yeah, this is all made up. Don't bother looking too deeply into this because this is a non-issue. So essentially, the opinion pieces are divvied up into 2 sections. Pressing issues, which is the stuff that is happening, and humour the rumour, which is almost like pre-fact checking, if you follow me. But one rumour that is persistent on the internet right now is that Daniel Ricciardo might be leaving Formula 1. Again.
What? Why? The fuck? I believe more Kevin Magnussen will do that than Ricciardo.
We've been in this situation a couple of times before, haven't we? Despite having some early success in the early part of his career at Red Bull, Danny Rick's career seems to have not gone the way he would have wanted it to go, or his fans would have wanted it to go, or, well, more specifically Australian fans would have wanted it to go. After the emergence of Verstappen, Danny Rick left to go to Renault, despite having beaten Verstappen in 2017, making him the only person to have beaten him over the course of the season, although there will be a list of caveats in the comments, no doubt. Well, I mean, Danny Kvyat beat Danny Rick in 2015, so swings.
What? So Danny Kvyat is actually the great racer in Red Bull. They should bring him...
Roundabouts.
in
To
again.
date, he's got 8 wins
New
in
fish with
Formula 1,
collection.
7 of those being with Red Bull, and
Maybe.
the 8th being at Monza in 2020.
Yeah, it should be. The other one was Betty, that had magnet and purple.
21, when he led the 2 McLarens home in a 1-2 formation. Many would have thought that the win in Monza would have been a kick up the arse to get him back into a decent rhythm, and then he would start scoring podiums and
Nope.
heavy point scores for the rest of time. But he didn't, really. What you're left with is people on the internet calling him things like washed, because, well, at one point, this guy was touted as being a future world champion, but then, obviously, Verstappen happened.
True.
Verstappen, the Verstappening, etc. Norris beat Ricciardo at every race thereafter, with the exception of the Russian and US Grand Prix.
Okay, let's see. Now we need to count. Fuck me, it's in the green territory. Bucket. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Really? So it wasn't even 300. Fitzpatrick. 18, so 299. Betty. The fuck? Triggerfish. Oh, fuck me. Do we have a triggerfish here? Nope. Okay, now I'm gonna keep going with any more Betty? Yes. Can take the Brinley, Clayfish, Flopper. That's Lewis Hamilton, a big flopper. Washed Flopper.
Norris also scored points in every race, while Ricciardo was unable to score in Turkey, Mexico, Qatar and Abu Dhabi. In addition, Norris scored podiums 4 times over the course of 2021, while Ricciardo's only visit was when he won at Monza. But with the 2022 regulations inbound, it looked like both drivers would get a reset button, because Norris had been there a little bit longer than Danny had, so he knew the car and team a little bit better. So for 2022, they should have been on equal footing, right? But it wasn't to be, because in 2022, Ricciardo only beat Norris 4 times all year. The first being the first race of the season in Bahrain, the second being at Baku, the third in Montreal, and the fourth at Mexico. Where Norris was scoring comfortable points finishes, Ricciardo could be well off, such as in Spain, Monaco, Silverstone, Zandvoort and Austin. Such was, McLaren chose to end his contract early and replace him with Oscar Piastri, whom they cleverly poached away from Alpine. I covered the saga at the time, which seems
isn't that a best move ever? Alpine make a mistake by not trying to keep Alonso, and that's they talk like they want to keep Alonso, but they do nothing for Alonso to actually make him wanna stay. Because of that, it doesn't look like he will get a seat, Oscar Piastri, so he goes to McLaren. And when Alonso finally leaves, then they go to Oscar Piastri, and then he's already gone. And you can say that was not a bad decision. Just look at the team now.
A long time ago, if I'm being honest. That was back in, well, 2022, when I was in the old office and everything looked a lot worse than it does now. But as it was, one of the most popular drivers on the grid and one of the most popular drivers of the last 10 or 15 years was now
Kom till köket och prata om allt mellan himmel och jord med varsin macka, dela sorger och skratt. Jag vill ha gjort mackor till oss.
Bjud in till ett viktigt snack på snackmackan.se. Hälsningar Polarbröd i samarbete med Friends.
That was interesting. Only 54 people have watched it.
without a seat, which caused a lot of mayhem online because people were thinking, well, he doesn't deserve this, he should have a seat, he won at Monza, he smiles a lot, etc. And it must have been demoralising because that next year Piastri got a sprint race victory while Danny was basically on the sidelines. In the interim, he was red.
I mean, true, but also he would not get that sprint race if he still was in
Bull's test driver and also AlphaTauri's reserve driver, and AlphaTauri had Nick De Vries and Yuki Tsunoda driving for them. Mid-season, Danny got a reprieve for his career because De Vries was binned off due to a lack of results, and Danny was given the opportunity.
Oh my god! Hi. Red, purple, red, lime, and then we have yellow magenta and yellow red. The fact, do we have anything more interesting? Lime gray. Nope. Magenta pink. Nope. Purples, magenta. Did we have any magenta? The fuck? And this was the new one. That's boring. Yeah, Clayfish had some new ones. The fuck did I place them? Orange lime. Yeah, that must be the new one. So -1. Orange lime, yes, true. Yellow, purple. Ooh. Yellow, blue, yellow, purple. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton. Purple. Purple lime, purple pink, purple red. That must be the only one. Light blue. There we have light blue lime, light blue blue, light blue black, light blue lime, light gray pink. True. No cob. Green. There we have green. White. Och det var white. White Magnanta. Green. Green Day. Green Peace. No green. Light blue. Det var light blue. Fuck me. Light blue black. Light blue black. White. Oh, white and lime. And white pink. Green black. Green orange. The fuck is this? Yep. Purple. Green, yellow. Nope. Cyan. Ooh, cyan black. Oh, cyan green. Cyan black. Cyan green. Do we have purple? Nope. Okay, -3. -3. Let's go to them.
Opportunity to show what he could do again. While he'd actually started his career at the struggling HRT team, it was at Faenza he got his proper F1 break, having driven for the team when it was Toro Rosso. So with him knowing the setup there, it should have been an easy click back in for him to hit the ground running and being as fast as we know he could be. But it only lasted 2 race weekends, because at the 3rd race weekend at Zandvoort, he, well, crashed and broke his hand. So he was going to be out for 4 races, and Liam Lawson was now replaced.
Let's see, I need to put a sign or something, because this is fucking stupid. I never know which elevator I should go to. Fucking stupid.
Facing him. When he came back, he scored only once, while Tsunoda scored 3 times. And the only 2 times he beat Tsunoda all season were at the Hungarian Grand Prix, where he came back, and in Mexico, where he scored those only points. And it was one of those occasions where people were thinking, well, hang on a minute, this guy has a lot of experience. He's proven that he can drive on multiple occasions. He beat Verstappen one year. He made Vettel quit Red Bull for Ferrari and won 3 races in 2014, while Vettel won none. So why has he been dumped on by someone with far less experience? So this then leads into these rumours that are now circulating online. The rumours are that Ricciardo has been given an ultimatum of sort it out or you're gone by the summer, with people pointing...
Yeah. I would say that's hard to believe. Can you really have so little faith in him? I mean, I can understand that with Nick de Vries, but Daniel Ricciardo, really? Can that really be true?
To Liam Lawson as being the one to replace him. Ricciardo has been outqualified by Tsunoda every race except for China, and had been on course to score points until Stroll arse-ended him behind the safety car.
Yeah, fuck Stroll, give him a race ban. No. Give Ricciardo a harsher penalty because he crashed DNF.
probably would have got him off the mark for the season. As it stands, Yuki has 7 points and Ricciardo has 0, although you could argue he would have points if it wasn't for Stroll putting the Canadian destroyer on him. Either way, that hit will in turn hurt the confidence a bit. Ollie Behrman has points and he was just dumped in the car with 0 practice. So while some are saying that the rumours are improved by the summer or be binned off, the race said in their recent pieces on the whole thing that the ultimatum could be as soon as the next race, which is in Miami. And speaking of, there's Miami Grand Prix swag now on the F1 store. Use the affiliate link in the
I heard the information about Max Verstappen will give some information about leaving Red Bull after, was it Australia or before Australia? That never happened.
Description, and I get some lunch money. And in turn, this is all part of the wider problem that Red Bull currently has because of, well, everything that's been going on behind the scenes lately. Because let's face it, only Verstappen is safe. Perez is probably going to be shown the door, and Toto Wolff is winding up Christian Horner by putting bids in for Verstappen. This isn't going to be helping things given the whole text message and female employees suing Red Bull stuff that is going on behind the scenes. This all forms the wider power struggle rumour because there's the rumours that the Verstappen family and Helmut Marko want Christian Horner gone. It's all mental, isn't it? I know I haven't covered any of the WhatsApp stuff. I probably will when something more concrete has revealed itself. I know none of this is concrete, but if Red Bull fans really have been tracking this woman down on LinkedIn and then abusing her, then, well, I'm not adding fuel to that fire. Now, speaking of fires, all of this getting Ricciardo out thing has got a little bit of this guy, that guy going on, because it turns out that Marko really likes Lawson and wants him in the seat as soon as possible, while Horner likes Ricciardo and wanted him back in a seat. But it has to be said that while these rumours of improved by this race or you're gone are flying around at the minute, none of this has actually been communicated to Ricciardo at any point. That's either by Horner, Marko, or the Visa credit card contactless payment crypto bollocks Alfa Rosso Visa credit card contactless payment crypto or the Visa credit card point. That's either by Horner, Marko, or the Visa credit card contactless payment crypto bollocks Alfa Rosso Racing Tauri Bulls. However,
man, come on, it's Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. It isn't that difficult to remember. And then Stake F1
we
team
can't write
kicks
it all off just yet. New chassis in China meant that Ricciardo was 14th in sprint qualifying, 11th in the sprint race, and then 12th in real qualifying. He wasn't just beating Tsunoda that weekend, he was demolishing him. As the race mentioned, the new chassis eliminates the last of the excuses for him being off, and now he's got to keep that form going over the next few races.
And then Stroll ruined maybe that. After crashing into him, and now that kind of talk can start again.
To see whether this is one of those one-offs, or if he really has got his mojo back. Remember, Ricciardo has, in the past, gone quite well in China. But as I said a couple of years ago when Ricciardo lost his seat last time, it is looking quite sad. Okay, yes, he smiles a lot and he is funny and he won at Monza, but after leaving Red Bull where he was touted as being a future champion, he went off to Renault, which was seen as a backward step, and being done simply because where the hell else was he supposed to go? Mercedes had Hamilton and Bottas, Ferrari had Vettel and Leclerc, and really the Renault seat had been there for him because Sainz had gone to McLaren and, well, yeah, where else was he going to go? So if Ricciardo is axed from AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, credit cards R Us,
Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. Man, people are so annoying. Can't
whatever
get
they're
their
called
names
this
right.
week. What does he do for his career now? Because surely in Formula 1, if he is booted again, he's got to be done. That is, unless Lawrence Stroll does the unthinkable and bins off his own son from Aston Martin.
I mean, he should. Like 5 years ago.
A pairing of Alonso and Ricciardo at Aston Martin does sound pretty spicy, to be honest. There's also an opportunity to maybe partner fellow ex-Red Bull driver Albon over at Williams, but will that be too much of a backward step for him? The guy wants to win, and as much as I love Williams, that's not going to win unless they find some sort of miracle hack with car development over the winter. There's certainly no way he's going to Alpine because, well, they're shit. And if Sainz doesn't go to Red Bull alongside Verstappen, then it's very likely it'll be him in one of the Audi seats with maybe Bottas alongside. So NASCAR or IndyCar then? I mean, NASCAR does sound like a good plan because he's a big fan of Dale and he wears the number 3 because of those good rent Chevrolets, but he said he hates ovals. So IndyCar then? I reckon he'd fit in quite well over there, and it would be a good commercial opportunity for IndyCar at the same time, because Lord knows they need one. As well as that, you've got fellow Southern Hemisphere drivers. You've also got Will Power, you've got Scott McLaughlin, and you've got Scott Dixon. So another Aussie in that Anzac group be pretty cool. Because at the minute, Ricciardo is...
wonder what they think about the other people in the car.
Looking like this generation's Jenson Button, or maybe even Martin Brundle. Journeyman driver that always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. A lot of promise to now be shuffling around in the mid-pack or the back of the mid-pack, being a mere shadow of what he was achieving 6 years ago. But this is all stuff that I'm sure you'll have fun debating down in the comments.
Nope.
Because we know he's good. We know he can be quick. It's just... well, it seems like he's fallen off the face of a cliff. So could this season really be the last we see of him? He's going to be 35 in June, so the clock is ticking on that front. And, well, with so many drivers waiting for a seat, something's got to give. So then, a look at the current rumours surrounding Daniel Ricciardo making way later in the season for Liam Lawson thing. If this thing has made you think things about the thing, then like this thing so I know I've done a good job. And for more things like this, hit the subscribe button thing and ring the bell thing so you never miss out on anything that I do around here. Massive thanks as ever to the rad lads at Patreon for the continued support, and if you want to help out at a more personal level, then a link to Patreon is in the description, along with links to Discord, socials and other bits and pieces that you might want or need to know. So until next time, I've been Aidan Millward, have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.
Okay. True. Well, let's see. He mentioned IndyCar. Could the segment be really good? Somewhat good. Hey, let's see. Long Beach happened. That was unrace in the car that happened. Let's see. And also, after that, something interesting have apparently happened in the car. And look at this. Pat Award, the winner. So after the Long Beach stuff, that I mean, man, as soon as I just saw Scott Dixon won the race, I left. No need to watch any celebration about him winning. But the Pat Award stuff could be interesting. Let's see, we can also... yeah. Felix Rosenqvist starting P1 and ending up P9. As usual, Marco Ericsson finished, I don't know where he started, but he finished high up, I think. Or maybe close where he started. Well, if Kurt Herta finished before Alexa Palou. Oh no, this is the points, right? No, Long Beach. I want to see... yeah, the drivers. Oh my god, Scott Dixon is leading and Kurt Herta at P2. And Alex Palou. And that's funny. Oh! Felix Rosenqvist. Yeah, but if we go back to the... where the fuck were I? Why? Can I go back to where I were? Thank you. Yeah, this was really IndyCar race. Nothing happened. I mean, stuff could actually happen, could have hurt or ruin the race for... Oh, where do we have him? Joseph Newgarden. That could maybe got past Scott Dixon. And after they ruined Joseph Newgarden, he didn't even get past. And that will make the race more fun. It could have hurt in the end, won the race. But nope, Scott Dixon won. Nothing fun with that. So let's see what the IndyCar person think about that race.
Say recently, including some people close to me, have said that I don't like IndyCar road racing anymore, and street course racing in particular is something that I don't like. I'm only about...
Actually true. Except one oval where Chip Ganassi... No, Penske is like fucking their hometown. So depressing seems people being so good in one race.
About the ovals nowadays. But I'll say this. The Long Beach Grand Prix was absolutely a fan-freaking-tastic Indy.
It wasn't. Please. It was so fucking boring. The only word that was interesting with that was the end. But even that was also not fun because nothing happened. A lot of stuff could happen, but nothing actually did happen. It's like seeing paint dry out or grass growing. You can definition talk about how much stuff have changed. So much stuff have happened. But if you take one photo in the beginning, one photo in the end, what did actually change? Nothing. Okay.
IndyCar race. It was a breath of fresh air
No.
for very oxygen-starved lungs, so to speak.
No.
Because the first two events of the season, I guess we can't call them both races because the thermal $1 million challenge.
Oh my god, that was so even more boring. Three different races and it was equally boring.
Was a non-championship event, but between St. Pete and Thermal, we saw very little actual on-track competition. It was a lot of cars driving much slower than they were intended to drive in an effort to save fuel or tires. And don't get me wrong, there was saving in this Long Beach race, but a luckily timed yellow managed to split the strategy and create what I thought was an all-time classic IndyCar race. And it's not just the racing that we sell here. And I think a classic race...
Like I said, if could have hurt down and got past Scott Dixon, it could have been an interesting ending. But it wasn't.
Isn't just a good race, which of course Long Beach...
Mostly because I don't care about Scott Dixon. He ruined a race that could have been so amazing for someone. But that someone didn't win the race. So seeing him winning more races, it's for me not fun at all.
Beach was. But it's also the principal combatants at the center of the battle for the win. And we saw so many big names have significant milestones reached in this race. And they did battle with one another at points. Drivers like Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden, I couldn't actually think of another time where they had directly been in contest for the same race win, and both with an equal shot at victory.
That's a big fucking lie. It was not the same... Oh my god, what the fuck did he say?
Shot at victory.
Not the same shot. Someone had a Coulthard driving into them. Another one didn't have that. So no, Stop lying.
And I thought that was just compelling as all hell. I mean, it just was
It wasn't until someone
really a good
changed.
race. And then, of course, you know, this is the thing. For some reason, racing has decided it hates lap traffic these days. But for me, when I hear the words lap traffic will be a factor, and also the fact that leaders can pass the lap traffic, it made for an extremely exciting and somewhat controversial finish. And so, for me, this gave me everything I wanted in an IndyCar.
What the fuck did he say? I mean, if the lap traffic have crashed out Scott Dixon, would that not be a problem? If the lap traffic crashed out Newgarden, would that not be a problem? If the lap traffic would have crashed out themselves, making so both the top people crashed out. New fish for the collection, wouldn't that be a bad stuff? If yes, then lap traffic will not be fun to have.
Race. And if you say that I'm not being positive right now, I don't know what to tell you. Now, we do have things to talk about that are negative in this video. But we'll save those for the end. This is going to be a mostly positive video. We've got to talk about Scott Dixon, of course. The GOAT, and why he's the GOAT. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And we'll also talk about the race in general, break down some of the controversial things like the incident between Newgarden and Herta at the hairpin, as well as a few other things. But I think it's important right now to look at how the 27 drivers and cars finished the 49th running of the Long Beach Grand Prix. It was indeed Scott Dixon winning.
That's so boring.
When you move your body, you move your mind. Asics. Sound mind, sound body.
Kära besserwissrar och trendexperter. Vi vet att kök inte får se röriga ut. Att det kan bli för mycket av det goda. Och att man inte ska blanda stilar. Just därför är vi glada att ingen frågade er. Epok, ditt kök, dina regler.
At Long Beach leading 42 laps and on an alternate fuel strategy that no one could make work except for the GOAT, Scott Dixon.
Yeah, he can, that I would say. He can succeed with, he can most impossible. Oh my god. Was it at the race? He was lost. And the hype for this person getting one more race win. And then for some reason, being last, Scott Dixon then get up there and then get past him and then wins. So fucking boring ending.
Dixon wins over Colton Herta in second place, the 2021 champion at Long Beach. Herta was charging at the end, and arguably, if he hadn't got into the back of Joseph Newgarden, though it was definitely difficult to avoid, he might have had a shot at Dixon. Alex Palou has yet to win the Long Beach Grand Prix, but he's always in the hunt. Someday, this race will be his. And of course, that kind of rings similar to his record at the Indianapolis 500 as well for the reigning IndyCar Series champion, Joseph Newgarden, the reigning Indianapolis 500 winner and former winner at Long Beach. Finishes fourth after leading 19 laps and coming into contact with Colton Herta. Herta did apologize for that, though, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Marcus Ericsson, I know he doesn't like the sneaky Swede moniker, but we're going to use it here because it was just all of a sudden that you saw the 28 car just in the mix there at the end of the race. Marcus Ericsson is so good at saving his stuff for the end, and he just always seems to be a factor at the end, especially in big races. Will Power in sixth spot looked early on like he was going to absolutely dominate.
New fish for the collection.
Getting a great hole shot off of the start from the outside front row position, leading 15 laps on the green tires. But once the alternate strategy came into effect, Scott Dixon simply outran Will Power on that strategy. Kyle Kirkwood was on it as well. The defending winner at Long Beach didn't have a great day, did lead one lap, but Kyle Kirkwood coming home seventh, the third driver on the Scott Dixon strategy. Romain Grosjean, who was close to victory in 2022 and 2023, strong running at Long Beach in the past, and has that continue with Hunkos Hollinger Racing, getting them a top 10 finish in P8. Felix Rosenqvist looked
Oh yeah, fuck me, Theo Pourchaire. The Formula 2 winner for... what year was that? It must have been 2023. Yeah, 2023. The Formula 2 winner for... yeah. In 2023. Theo Pourchaire is apparently in the car and driving for McLaren. And did someone... Eller... You could say a good... Yeah, it must be a great race. 11.
Absolutely awesome in qualifying, but braking issues, which I think he also suffered from at St. Petersburg, ultimately left him with a 9th place finish. Extremely disappointing for such a promising start to the season for Felix Rosenqvist that he does not yet have a victory or a podium. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, you can say he can get pole position, but he can never succeed with the tires in the race. That is so weird.
Incredible that hasn't happened yet. Alexander Rossi, another former winner at Long Beach, finishes P10.
He will maybe get the most pole position for someone not getting a win or the fuck they say, no podium either. That's a nice stat.
And top McLaren in the field. The McLarens were just a little bit off in terms of pretty much everything in Long Beach. Their qualifying did not go well. The race a little bit better. Rossi taking 10th. Theo Pourchaire, who is Theo Pourchaire. Sorry, I knew I would screw that up. Theo Pourchaire. I gotta learn that name. You gotta learn that name. This kid is a star. F2 champion. First IndyCar race. Hadn't even sat in the car until he got in the seat in practice for Long Beach. Manages to finish almost in the top 10 in P11. I think he impressed a lot of people, and it was announced today.
Yeah, he started in 20. He was hoping for top 15, and he almost got top 10.
That he will drive the 6 car at Barber Motorsports Park, the last race before the month of May. And if you're David Malukas, there are a lot of questions around the future of him and McLaren going into the future. Marcus Armstrong, who was strong in practice and qualifying, didn't quite have the race pace, but managed to come home 12th. Linus Lundqvist had a pretty good day, all things considered, in P13.
What the fuck
Linus
about the award
was
16?
quick at times, was making a lot of passes.
That can't be good for Pato Award. Being P16 when Theo Pourchaire P11.
Early on in the race, but comes home 14th. Augustine Canapino in 15th, the second Juncos Hollinger driver. Pato Award was penalized for avoidable contact.
One more
with
fish
his
for the
teammate,
collection.
Alexander Rossi. Bit of a disaster for McLaren, disaster for Award. 16th spot. Graham
Light
Rahal in
gray,
17th.
light
Stingray
blue.
Robb with a decent effort in
Black
18th
purple,
spot
purple
for
blue,
AJ Foyt
yellow
Racing,
line,
actually the top finisher
orange
on
red,
that
and
team.
lime red.
Kiffin Simpson in 19th. The first car, I believe, 1 lap behind the race. Yes, indeed. Kiffin Simpson, the first car, 1 lap down. Nolan Siegel with King Taco sponsorship for this week in the 51 for Dale Coyne Racing finishes 20th. Santino Ferrucci was battling hard for his 21st finishing position, but not great for AJ Foyt Racing. Tom Blomqvist had a tough day for sure. He had some contact as well. In fact, was involved in the Pato Award Schmazel. 22nd place for the second Meyer Shank car. Christian Lundgaard was penalized for, I believe it was a pit lane, or sorry.
Oh my god, that was so depressing for Christian Lundgaard. He didn't listen on the radio that someone was coming behind him when he was in the pit. And then, yeah, crashing to someone coming behind him. So
it was avoidable
depressing.
contact for Christian Lundgaard as well. That pretty much took him out of the running. Pietro Fittipaldi, I think they showed him on TV once. The TV cameras did not like that particular Rahal Letterman Lanigan car. He finished the last car 1 lap down. Jack Harvey 2 laps down, not really his fault at all. was just kind of an innocent bystander in the Christian Rasmussen crash. Scott McLaughlin had a mechanical issue, which put him in 26th position, many laps behind the race. And Christian Rasmussen, of course.
Oh yeah, Christian Rasmussen. Man, Scott McLaughlin, what the fuck is he doing this far off? But Christian crashed. And someone behind him tried to avoid him, but then got caught in the crash.
Had an accident after catching the wall coming out of the hairpin and then crashing further down the track and collecting Jack Harvey. So, I'll keep gushing about the race. It was a quality race. Now, certainly, the tires have not helped the product very much this year. The tires are designed for a heavier car that has a hybrid attached to it, and right now, that is not on the cars. And supposedly, the target date for that is mid-Ohio, but it's going to be a while before we see Indy cars on the tires that they were designed to be running on. So early on in the race, you kind of worried it was going to be a bit of a snoozer like St. Pete was. There was definitely more passing. I think the very long shoreline drive helps that significantly. Long Beach is just a really good track for racing because you do have a couple of straightaways where you can really open up the car and take advantage of someone and take a position.
Yeah, taking position in the car probably never happens. So
St. Pete, while it has one long straightaway, it's a little bit more difficult to get a run on somebody. So, Long Beach can kind of overcome difficulties with the formula to still produce a good show. But once we got that yellow for Christian Rasmussen's crash, it just made everything better. Because once you had that split strategy going, you had guys who were going absolutely flat out, passing as many cars as they could possibly pass. And then you had the intrigue of the strategy of the other drivers, like Scott Dixon, who had to go fast, pass cars, and save fuel, which is an impossible task. And yet Scott Dixon somehow was able to pull it off. And thankfully, there was enough green flag running where the front of the field caught the back of the field. And, we'll actually be talking about Zach Brown's comments on the state of IndyCar and where he'd like to see it in the future. Spoiler alert, I agreed with a lot of it.
Oh my god, new fish for the collection. What the fuck is this?
Significantly, and one of the greatest examples I can give as to why IndyCar is not a 20-car field, why it is a 27-car field, is that when you have about 7 or 8 guys, maybe 10 or 11 at the Indy 500 who are far enough off the pace where the leaders have to come through them 2 or 3 times in a race, that lap traffic creates opportunities for exciting things to happen. Drama, intrigue, uncertainty.
So you want them to crash? If you don't, then you don't like it.
In a race. And that's what we saw when the leaders caught the lapped cars towards the end of the race. Scott Dixon had to thread his way through the traffic. He did it expertly. Now, he had some help from his teammates. That's to be expected, right? You run 5 cars, it's going to happen. But I'm not a fan of just waving them off either. No F1.
Okay, so you will be okay if that leads. That's Scott Dixon get an easy pass, and Newgarden, also new fish for the collection, get crashed out because they're fighting so hard with you. Is that something you actually want?
Style blue flags. I think the lapped cars should try to fight to stay on the lead lap. Now, once they get lapped, I think they should be a little bit easier to overtake than they were with the leaders. But, then because of that lap traffic and the bottleneck that created, you had the contact between Joseph Newgarden and Colton Herta.
And that's a good thing.
And that created some drama and intrigue. Now, certainly they didn't throw fisticuffs. And maybe they didn't need to throw fisticuffs at the end of the race, but, I think you had some fan drama. You have a debate. Was it Newgarden's fault? Was it Herta's fault? I'm sure, there were Newgarden fans on one side of it and Herta fans on the other, and I think...
I'm not a Newgarden fan, but it's got the Herta fault. Easy. The fuck?
That's good for business. I would like to see. I don't necessarily want to see drivers running into each other all the time.
But you said it was good for business, so they should.
I don't hate the idea of fan rivalries between fan bases of drivers. It works so well for NASCAR and Formula One. It would be nice if it happens here. And so incidents between top running drivers, and like I said, I mean, you heard the list of names in the top 6. It's most of the top guys in this sport. And they were all doing the battling for the win. And that's what grew IndyCar in the golden age. That's what continues to grow it now, is those drivers, those top teams duking it out every week. And thankfully, most of the drivers were in the liveries they run all year. That's nice too. But yeah, I think it was classy of her to apologize to Joseph. Do I wish they would have been a bit more catty in front of the cameras and do it behind closed doors? Sure, but again, that's the entertainer in me. The racer in me says fair play to both of them. But yeah, it was interesting to hear what Cindric said on the radio, relayed through NBC Sports' Marty Snyder, which is that, hey, they didn't call that avoidable contact, so you can run into anybody you want to. That's a dangerous precedent, but I guess you can do it at a 30-mile-an-hour hairpin. It's a little bit different at most of the other circuits on the calendar. But Scott Dixon, I think this is the thing we need to talk about the most. Why is Scott Dixon the greatest of all time, and the greatest in this era in particular? And I think it's because, and this is going to sound weird, Scott Dixon is the greatest of his era because he's the
new
last
fish for the collection
of the greats of the old era. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Scott Dixon himself has admitted on several occasions the reason why...
Oh, fuck me, I didn't mention that. I found the Shilker box. I had just placed it down and never picked it up.
He is such a good fuel saver is that he grew up in an era in IndyCar when there was total open development, chassis, engines, tires, the whole shebang. And this created more disparity in the field than we see today. Now, I would argue that sometimes helps with the racing because it splits the field up a little bit more. But Dixon, the reason he is so good in this particular era is because he is driven with equipment and won with equipment that was so far away from the top shelf stuff, even when he was at a top shelf team at times with Chip Ganassi Racing, that Toyota would fund Chip Ganassi to go test with their Toyota engine, which was a little bit down on the Hondas and Fords and CART and the Hondas in the IRL. They would test and test and test. And what they would test would be, Scott Dixon, you're going to run 1,000 miles today, and you are going to run this lap time, and you're going to hit this fuel number, and we're going to keep doing
one more fish for the collection.
Keep doing it. The drivers of today do not do that. And it's not because they don't want to. Well, I think some of them don't want to. But
one more.
It's not because of lack of trying. It's because of the era that we're in. We're in an era of sustainability and partnerships. Those two words, by the way, should never, ever be said in any racing marketing material ever again. They're the two worst words ever. But I digress. We live in an era where you can't test. There's not a lot of development. There's not a lot of competition on the technical side. Everything's developed. It's the series problem to make sure that things work, not the teams.
Probably one more for the collection.
And Scott Dixon is the last driver who grew up in an era where it was your responsibility to get the most out of your equipment. You complained about yourself because you were the reason that the car was going slow. It wasn't anybody else's fault.
True.
And Scott Dixon, because of that, ironically enough, brings that experience now into an era where everything is so tightly controlled. Everything is in such a small box now that if you can save fuel and you can hit a lap time, you are going to win races more often than not, and it doesn't matter. Oftentimes, Scott Dixon, when he has the fastest car, doesn't win. It's when he starts 6th through 12th is when he wins races. And because I think Scott Dixon just performs better when he's got cars in front of him and he's got a goal that he's got to hit. And we saw it at Long Beach. We saw it at Gateway last year. He gets...
Yeah, if you're talking about the race I'm thinking about, then 100% yes. And that was so fucking depressing. Someone that have not won a race for many years can now succeed to win one more. And then no. And the more annoying thing is, then the race after, or maybe the two of the last races, Scott Dixon wins more. It's like, the fuck? Couldn't you let this one go to this person?
This small, teeny tiny box, but because he had all of this testing, all of this experience that simply the other drivers do not have, he has a massive advantage in situations like this. You know, and again, a driver like Joseph Newgarden or Alex Palou could absolutely be Scott.
Like Alonso in Formula 1. You've driven in so much bad cars. So if he's like in a good car, it looks like it's the second best in the race.
Dixon, if they got thousands of miles of testing under their belt. They are good. Joseph Newgarden, Alex Palou, and many of the other great drivers of this particular era are good because they can jump in a car right out of the box.
Fuck, go away,
Be quick. In a DW12. A DW12. They can jump in that car and just go like bonkers. And they can run really, really fast. We saw it in this race. Newgarden absolutely, eating up the gap on Dixon. You had the two different philosophies of IndyCar racing. You had the old school and the new school. That's what made...
And the new school could maybe have won if Kutahara hadn't ruined everything.
This is a classic race, right? And ultimately, it was the old school that won. And I think that...
I wonder why. Please explain why that happened.
Might have been why I like this race so much, because it was an old school race.
Old school race when you have someone crash out the other one, yeah.
Like I said, you had
hype.
Alternate strategies. You didn't have everybody on the same thing, doing the same thing, running the same lap times. People were doing completely different things, and at the end of the day, they both ended up essentially the same. Both strategies were valid, and both...
Until Kutahara happened. Like Lance Stroll. Ruined everything.
Strategies could have won the race under the right circumstances. So I just thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed the race.
Copium.
And it proved that Scott Dixon, who by the way is only 10 wins behind AJ Foyt now, and for those of you doing math at home, he essentially needs to win 3 1/4 races in the next 3 years to average
one more
that,
fish foot collection.
Match and surpass AJ Foyt. So yeah, a
fishes.
record that we once thought was potentially impossible, I think is very possible with Scott Dixon. And the longer we use this specific equipment, and you think Scott Dixon's not going to figure out the hybrid quicker than everybody else, I think he will.
Nope.
I think there's more wins coming in Scott Dixon's future.
Nope.
Yeah. I gushed about this race. Unfortunately, I do have to give some negative feedback as well, because there is... I guess the advantage of doing this video a little bit later is that the TV rating came out, and it's not good. 300,000 viewers on USA Network. If that would have been on a network television broadcast, that would have been a test signal. Okay, so obviously USA not a network, so there are different expectations about what the TV rating was going to do. But I think I saw NASCAR Man say it was the lowest TV rating since around 2013. So while I enjoyed the race a lot, was going up against Talladega, directly against Talladega, a great strategy? Probably not. Now, obviously, the Long Beach Grand Prix has many considerations about when their race happens. Talladega used to happen in early May. It's now happening in mid-April. But I just don't think you should ever compete with a restrictor plate race. I know a lot of people used to complain about IndyCar competing against the Masters. NASCAR is way more competition than golf is for IndyCar. Let's put it that way. While IndyCar's demo is very golf, their competition is NASCAR. You got to keep that in mind. And the Chinese Grand Prix for Formula One, which happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, got 600,000 viewers on ESPN, which, again, concerning, because that was a complete stinker of a race.
Wait, what? Oh, well, yeah, you can say actually true. Let's see, what happened? Alonso made some interesting stuff. Lance Stroll and Kevin Magnussen ruined a lot for Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. Ocon couldn't maybe got points. The fight between Leclerc and... oh my god. The Formula 1 race was so much more interesting than that IndyCar race. Fuck. What more happened? Yeah, one more fish for the collection. Black and pink. Fuck, am I blind? Did I see something? Weird. Okay, let's see what more happened in Formula 1. Yeah, the fight between Norris and Leclerc. Who will be P2 or P3? What did Sergio Perez do? I mean, the only difference between the IndyCar and Formula 1 that same person that started to lead the race and led every lap, the most of the laps in the race, was the one that also won the race. In IndyCar, Rosenqvist started P1 and then fell off. Really fun. Newgarden was leading a lot of the time, and then he gets his race ruined because of Kota Herta, and then Mike Scott Dixon, that I would say maybe didn't deserve the win. Is that more interesting? I mean, you can say more stuff happened, but also not happened.
Formula 1. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the on-track product doesn't necessarily translate to people wanting to watch. It's all of the other stuff around it. IndyCar's got a great on-track product when they get the tire.
I would say no. Oh my god, IndyCar. It's like saying Formula 2, Formula 3, it's happened a lot of stuff. I mean, it can. But most likely it wouldn't happen. Nothing will happen. It will just be a boring DRS train.
Tires, right, so that the strategy actually happens the way it's supposed to. They have a good product, but it's more than that. And we'll talk about that in the next video. Zach Brown had some interesting thoughts. IndyCar's asked him to be on an advisory council, and he shared some thoughts with the media, and I'll talk about that tomorrow. I think you'll enjoy it. So, yeah, I was happy. It's a good. It'll be a good race to rewatch 5 years from now, and that's probably the biggest praise I can put on an IndyCar race. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I go way Pepsi. Let's see what the fuck happened in St. Pete. Why is Pato Ward the winner? So weird. Come on, 2 more fishes. Bow. Then we maybe need also sound.
The phrase major breaking news, I think, is a bit of an undersell in this story.
Why?
I consider myself an IndyCar historian, and I cannot think of a penalty. I cannot find a penalty that has the same precedent and severity of the penalty that has just been handed down to none other than Team Penske. Now, I'm going to remind you that Roger Penske, who owns not only the series, but obviously the team that carries his name, has been penalized for a violation of the push-to-pass rules. And what that has meant is that the win at St. Petersburg for Joseph Newgarden has been stripped. His car, along with Scott McLaughlin's car, were disqualified for misusing the push-to-pass.
New fish for the collection.
That has awarded the win of the race to Pato O'Ward, ending McLaren's winless streak in the most unlikely of circumstances. In a race at St. Petersburg, which, let's be honest, was one of the most forgettable that I can remember, has suddenly become one of the most important and one of the most unforgettable and notable races of this entire season, and we're only 2 races in. So let's read the press release and the release of this information from IndyCar, which also includes a statement from Penske Racing President Tim Cindric. IndyCar has announced penalties for Team Penske, including disqualifications for the number 2 driver Joseph Newgarden and the number 3 Scott McLaughlin, and a 10-point penalty for the number 12 Will Power from the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, on Sunday, March 10th on the streets of St. Petersburg. Team Penske was in violation of the following push-to-pass parameters. Rule 14.19.15. An indicator to enable push-to-pass will be sent via canned communication from the timing and scoring beacon on the board of the car to the team data logger. This signal must be passed onto the ECU unmodified and uninterrupted during all road and street course events. And Rule 14.19.16, race starts at any race restart that occurs before the lap prior to the white flag or prior to 3 minutes remaining in the race will have the push-to-pass system disabled and will be enabled for a given car once that car reaches the alternate start-finish line. According to the rulebook, the violation is considered a race procedure penalty, 9.2.2, which includes the right to reposition the driver/car in the positioning or results, with a disqualification, 9.2.2.6, that includes the forfeiture of any points and awards. During the Sunday, April 21st warm-up session ahead of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, IndyCar discovered the team's possible rule violation. An extensive review of the data from the race on the streets of St. Petersburg revealed that Team Penske manipulated the overtake system so that the number 2, 3, and 12 cars had the ability to use push-to-pass on starts and restarts. According to the IndyCar rulebook, the use of overtake is not available during championship races until the car reaches the alternate start-finish line. It was determined that the number 2 and 3 cars gained an advantage using push-to-pass on the restarts, while the number 12 did not. Additionally, all 3 entries have been fined $25,000 and will forfeit all prize money associated with the Streets of St. Petersburg race.
Nice.
The integrity of the IndyCar Series Championship is critical to everything we do, IndyCar President Jay Fry said. While the violation went undetected at St. Petersburg, IndyCar discovered the manipulation during Sunday's warm-up in Long Beach and immediately addressed it, ensuring all the cars were compliant for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Beginning with this week's race in Barber Motorsports Park, new technical inspection procedures will be in place to deter this violation. Due to the disqualification of the number 2, the number 5 Arrow McLaren entry driven by Pato O'Ward is now credited with the win on the streets of St. Petersburg. An official final results from the St. Petersburg race is available here, with the updated 2024 season standings available here. Members may contest the imposition of penalties detailed in the review and appeals procedures in the NTT IndyCar Series rulebook. And here's the statement from Team Cindric. Unfortunately, the push-to-pass software was not removed as it should have been following the recently completed hybrid tests in the Team Penske IndyCars, Team Penske President Tim Cindric said. This software allowed for the push-to-pass to be deployed during the restarts of the St. Pete Grand Prix race, when it should not have been permitted.
Fuck are you?
The number 2 car, driven by Joseph Newgarden, and the number 3 car of Scott McLaughlin both deployed push-to-pass on a restart, which violated IndyCar rules. Team Penske accepts the penalties applied by IndyCar.
Oh,
and just if you're curious, let's take a look at the point standings as they are after the St. Pete penalties have been applied. Scott Dixon is now the points leader by 2 points over Colton Herta. Alex Palou in third. Pato Award with his now credited win is fourth. Will Power, after only losing 10 points, having not used push to pass to gain any competitive advantage at St. Petersburg, slots into fifth in the championship.
Come on,
and Joseph Newgarden, while he had a great finish at St. Petersburg, at Long Beach, well, he had a great finish at St. Petersburg until he got disqualified, slots into 11th in the standings after essentially not taking part in the St. Pete race at all. But the biggest damage was done to Scott McLaughlin, who is now 29th in the standings, the last driver out of any who have actually taken a start in the series this year with only 5 points. So there's quite a few things to talk about based on what IndyCar has released and also the response from Tim Cindric. But I want to give credit where credit is due here, and this is a very, very serious thing, is that, look, man, I think everybody saw the discourse online with how race control handled the end of last year's Indianapolis 500. And the accusations, which I don't believe, really, that race control was going to swing races in favor of Team Penske.
Why not?
And credit to IndyCar taking very, very swift action, harsh action, and frankly, unprecedented action.
Yeah, but in the wrong race.
Action against Team Penske. And you know what? The integrity of the sport, as Jay Fry said, is extremely important. And full credit to IndyCar for protecting that, going after the boss's team. I think that is 100% fair and honest and transparent from them. So I think that's great. I think it's great that they were willing to do it. It's a very harsh penalty. In fact, I could not think of a disqualification. There have been lots of slaps on the wrist, including for race wins. I think, there was one point, one notable example I can think of is that Justin Wilson's win at Texas in 2012, the car had unapproved aerodynamic components on the car. They allowed them to keep that win with a fine, if I remember correctly, maybe a points penalty. I think Ganassi has been dinged at points. I think Team Penske has even been dinged at points for rules violations, but never a disqualification. In fact, the last time a disqualification was levied, at least in terms of a race winner, I literally cannot think of a disqualification.
Yeah, quite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. $20, 315. Oh my god. Stripey. We need Brinley. Go away. Go away. Go away. Oh fuck me, -1. Nope. Okay, you can keep
that has stuck up and down the field. So this is pretty unprecedented. But 1995, Portland. Al Unser Jr. was found to be in violation of having too low of ride height. Now, there had been some kind of an incident during the race, which was not intentionally a competitive advantage. Al Unser Jr. And Team Penske took the ruling to court. Jimmy Vasser was actually awarded his first IndyCar win, or what was at the time his first IndyCar win. But Penske got in an appeals court the race ruling overturned, and Al Unser Jr., you'll see in any kind of text, is declared the winner of the Portland race in 1995. But as we heard from Tim Cindric, Penske does not intend to contest this particular ruling, which would seem to indicate that, you know, maybe the software was installed during the hybrid test, but you know, the fact that Joseph and Scott used the push to pass, and the fact that it was still on the cars at Long Beach would seem to indicate some sort of an intent, right? And you know, the fact that Jay Fry used the word, and the IndyCar release uses the word manipulation, we are only to assume that, you know, this was not necessarily an innocent mistake by Team Penske. But, again, if this was determined that they violated the rules this seriously, I think the penalty is justified. It's pretty wild that it is this situation, but here we are. There's some interesting fallout from this. The storyline of McLaren not winning any races, which they hadn't done for nearly...
They have not done it. That's fun.
What, a year and a half, 2 years? That is out of the window. Pato O'Ward is now officially in the record book the winner of the St. Petersburg Grand Prix, a race that is a redemption from last year, where he had a plenum incident while leading the race with just a couple of laps to go. Marcus Ericsson managed to make the pass and cost Pato the win. And now Pato O'Ward is another race winner in IndyCar, but didn't get to celebrate it. I mean, how crazy is that? This is the sort of stuff. And the St. Petersburg race, too, was a race that was not all that intriguing. And now all of a sudden, it is so intriguing. It went from a completely unnotable race historically to arguably one of the most historically notable races in IndyCar history, just because the winner got disqualified. I mean, I cannot think of the last time a penalty has been handed down this severely. But the fact that the violation was found on the cars again in the morning warm-up, no less. I mean, this was on...
Oh my god, if they have just not had that, they could have actually kept the win.
Race day, when it was discovered that Team Penske had this advantage. I can only assume that's why. I can't imagine a situation where this would have been discovered if this had been a mistake and Team Penske said, well, we benefited from that, but hey, guess what? We took it off the cars for Long Beach. And they didn't, and Team Penske's not contesting it, so what am I to believe there? And obviously, the two cars that were on the podium at St. Pete from Team Penske were the two that ended up on the podium. So it's interesting how that all works. And then you start to think about Joseph Newgarden being in the position he was in at Long Beach. Second place, chasing down Scott Dixon. You know, there was a restart in there where Joseph could have used the push to pass, and I suppose Scott McLaughlin too, although he was a mechanical DNF in that race. So yeah, that totally would have been an advantage at Long Beach had it been applied to the cars then as well.
Green.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about this. It really is. Again, completely unprecedented penalty, but really kind of an unprecedented violation. I can't even think of a time where push to pass has been manipulated at all. So yeah, Wasn't expecting that this was going to be the thing I would be talking about today, the video I would make. I'm still planning on making the video about Zach Brown's suggestions for IndyCar in the future, but obviously this story takes precedent over anything else the rest of the day. So a hell of a story, something completely unexpected, and something completely unexpected about a race that happened 5 weeks ago. Who would have thought it? IndyCar.
Yeah, and also, man, how long time ago was St. Pete? Schedule. Oh my god, it was the first race also. The first race. Okay, race info. And the race was March 10th. Oh, Ramadan, I believe. March 10th. Is it that really? Ramadan. Yeah, March 10th. So... that's interesting. 1 month later, Pato Ward can celebrate his St. Pete win.
Sometimes you have something in your bag of tricks, you can surprise me. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. I would tell you to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, but I suspect you've already done that.
Black, purple,
so we'll just see you in the next video.
Black, purple, black, purple. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we can end that there. Okay, minus one more. 313. And we have 2,700. Let's see, how many do we actually need to get more? Can we get a calculator? 2,700 minus 313. So 2,387 more we need to find. I need to find. From fucking this. Oh my god, so disgusting. But I will succeed. And also, let's see, where the fuck do I have? Must be in here. Here we have them. They're all different colors, axolotls. And the only reason why I even started collecting fishes was because I was collecting these. I'm really glad I did that, because they Minecraft or Mojang, they changed how the blue axolotl, what you can say, spawns in, or you need to breed 2 axolotls to maybe be lucky with the blue one. But when I did the math, I saw it's more likely because I had I have so many different places. I saw I had so many different places where the axolotl will spawn in. So, like I do now when I'm collecting fishes, if I just swim around the base, I will most likely find one. Let's see if this is the one. Yeah, there we have that. The blue one. And I'm so happy I did that. Don't need to care about that one now. see. Oh. I was not done. Unlucky. Okay, let's see. What do we have? As we have. No, that one will go back. Have we a snooper? Yes. Okay, orange red. Nice. Spotty. Blue gray. Blue gray. Do we have blue gray? We have not any blue gray. Stripey. Light gray. Light gray purple, right? Oh, light gray and light gray. Light gray, light blue. Oh, light blue magenta. Oh no, light gray. We need light blue. Do we like blue? Nope. Lime. White. Did I have cyan here somewhere? No, it's white cyan. Let's remove all these fucking boring fishes. Oh, we're done. Let's pick it stuff up and then we can place that one down and then we should go away with that. Oh, that I should do. Let's remove that, remove that, remove that. Okay, steak. Okay, can I find potato? I find potato. I don't want baked potato. That's done. We just... Oh, fuck me. And oh, fuck me. I need to switch back to that. So let's see, 313 fishes. God damn it. It's the wrong side. Man, this is so annoying. I have the fishes in the chest on the other side, but the elevator to this place is on the other side. Where would you wanna go? Black, purple. You can be with this fish. Man, only normal fishes here. Come on, give me some interesting fishes. Ah, here we have some more interesting. 2, 3, 4 boring. And 2 cool. Yeah, well, maybe a part of cool fishes. Half cool, half normal. Here we have a super cool fish. The one I came with. Okay, let's go down or up. Wait, no, I will go down to then go up. And then I can sleep and then I can end it. Nice. This is boring. Yeah, let's end it. 313 fishes and 2,387 fishes left to find. But until that have changed, I would say bye.